Right now, you're on day 2 of your breakup with me, feeling relieved and free. In 3 days, you'll start feeling guilty. In 7 days, you'll respond to my text. In 14 days, you'll be back in my bed. Unless you understand the playbook I'm about to show you right now, I've known for weeks, maybe months. You think you're being subtle, but I see everything. The way you pause before answering my questions, the new password on your phone, that therapy appointment, the conversations that stop the second I walk into the room. You're not as clever as you think you are. But here's what you don't understand. I'm not worried, not even a little bit. Because while you've been building up the nerve to have your little moment of defiance, I've been building something far more sophisticated. A guarantee that even if you walk out that door, you'll crawl right back through it. Want to know how? Let me walk you through exactly what's happening right now. Consider this a masterclass. You think we met by accident. You think it was fate, chemistry, the universe bringing 2 souls together? I didn't. I saw you at that coffee shop 3 times before I ever said a word to you. I watched. I studied. The way you sat alone with your laptop, always in the same corner. The way you smiled at the barista but never made extended eye contact. The self-help book on your table. You were perfect. Not perfect like you thought I meant. Perfect for what I needed. Someone who wanted to be seen. Someone who had just enough self-doubt to be moldable. Someone who believed in second chances and the power of love to heal people. You were lonely. Not desperate. Desperation would have made you too cautious. But lonely enough that when someone finally paid attention, you would mistake intensity for intimacy. When I finally approached you, I already knew which version of myself you needed. The vulnerable one. The one who had been hurt before. The one who saw something special in you that nobody else had ever noticed. I mirrored everything you wanted to see. You mentioned you loved hiking. Suddenly, so did I. You talked about your distant relationship with your father. I shared a carefully edited story about mine. You said you valued honesty. I told you I just wanted something real. Every word was calculated. Every vulnerability was strategic. Within 2 weeks, you were telling your friends I was different. Within a month, you were falling in love. Within 3 months, you were completely mine. That's when the real work began. I never told you to stop seeing your friends. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I made plans every Friday night. Special plans, just for us. When your friends invited you out, I never said no. I just looked a little hurt. Of course you should go. I just thought tonight was our night. But no, really, go. I'll be fine here alone. You stayed home every single time, and every single time you felt like it was your choice. Your sister, the one who never liked me. I handled her differently. I was nothing but polite to her face. But in private, with you, I asked gentle questions. Does she always judge your relationships like this? I just feel like she doesn't want you to be happy. I planted seeds. Let them grow in your own mind until you started pulling away from her yourself. Your therapist was trickier. I couldn't make you stop going. That would have raised red flags. So instead, I became interested. Supportive. What did you talk about? You told me everything. And then I started interpreting your therapy homework differently. When your therapist suggested you work on boundaries, I praised that. Yes, you need to set boundaries with people who drain you, like that friend who's always asking you for favors, never me. When your therapist suggested you spend more time on your own interests, I supported that too. You should take up painting again. Here, I bought you supplies you can set up in the spare room, right next to my office, alone, but not really alone. The workplace was easy. I just made sure you knew that your coworkers didn't appreciate you the way I did, that your boss took advantage of your kindness. You know what? You don't need that job. I make enough for both of us. Some of you actually quit. The ones who didn't still pulled back. You became a ghost in your own life, and I became your entire world. Financial dependence is the most elegant trap because it feels like generosity. I paid for dinners. I paid for trips. I insisted. Put your wallet away. I've got this. You thought it was romantic. What it actually meant was that I was building a ledger in your mind. Every meal, every gift was a debt. Emotionally, when I suggested you move in, you thought it made practical sense. You didn't realize you were giving up your escape route. Suddenly, your name wasn't on the lease. Your furniture was given away. Your mail came to my address. Your emergency contact was me. I suggested a joint account for household expenses. And somehow, that joint account became the primary one. Money is power, and I made sure I had all of it. But financial control is nothing compared to what I did to your mind. I made you need me to tell you what was real. When you were upset, I became the only one who could calm you down. When you were happy, I became the only one whose validation mattered. When you weren't sure, you stopped trusting yourself and started asking me, "What do you think I should do?" Music to my ears. I rewrote your history. Remember that ex-boyfriend? I helped you see the truth. He sounds emotionally unavailable. Kind of manipulative, actually. I did that with everyone from your past. I helped you reframe every relationship as fundamentally flawed, which meant what? That I was the first person who ever really got you. Your entire life story became loneliness and disappointment until me. I became the hero of your narrative, which meant leaving me wasn't just ending a relationship. It was losing your whole story. Who would you even be without me? Here's the thing nobody tells you about manipulation. It only works if you mix in just enough good to keep them hoping. If I was terrible all the time, you'd leave. But if I'm terrible 90% of the time and amazing 10% of the time, you'll stay forever, chasing that 10% like an addict chasing a high. Some days, I was cold, distant. Can we talk about this later? I'm exhausted, but later never came. You went to bed feeling anxious, wondering what you did wrong. Then, right when you were about to break, I'd switch. Flowers, a compliment, a weekend getaway. The version of me you fell in love with would reappear just long enough to make you believe he was still in there. You stayed. I criticized you, but carefully. Never about things you couldn't change. I criticized your choices, your reactions. I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying you overreacted. Again, why do you make everything so dramatic? You started monitoring yourself, editing yourself, shrinking yourself. But here's the secret. That version of you never existed. The version of me who thought you were perfect never existed either. Those were characters we both played. But the play is over now. I compared you to my ex sometimes. She used to cook this differently. It was really good, just a casual comment. But you heard it. I made jokes at your expense in front of friends. Yeah, she's not exactly a morning person or an afternoon person. Basically, she's only pleasant after 8 p.m. Everyone laughed, including you. But it wasn't a joke. It was a slow erosion of your dignity, your confidence. And through it all, I made sure you knew that leaving me would be the biggest mistake of your life. Nobody else would put up with your issues. I love you anyway, but other people, they wouldn't be as patient. Translation. You're lucky I tolerate you. You should work harder to keep me. And you did. You bent yourself into shapes that shouldn't be possible, never realizing that the thing that was broken was me, and I had no intention of fixing it. So now we're here. You think you're ready to leave. You've been stockpiling courage, reading articles, maybe even talking to that therapist again. But here's what you don't know. I've been stockpiling too. I have contingency plans. I have a whole playbook designed specifically for this moment. Let's say you do it. Let's say you work up the nerve to say the words, "I'm leaving, we're done. I won't fight you, I won't yell, I won't argue, I won't beg, I'll be calm." Sad, maybe, but accepting. If that's what you need, I understand. I just want you to be happy. You'll be shocked. You expected World War III. But I'm just letting you go. This is the moment you'll start doubting yourself. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe he really has changed. I haven't. But I need you to wonder. You'll pack your things. I'll help. I'll be kind. Take whatever you need. You'll leave. You'll stay with a friend or family. You'll feel relieved for 48 hours. Then you'll start feeling something else. Guilt. Because I'm not acting like the villain you needed me to be. I'll give you 3 days. Enough time to miss me, but not enough time to remember why you left. Then I'll text. I hope you're doing okay. I've been thinking about you. Simple, human. You'll respond. Eventually, I'm fine. Hope you're okay too. And now we're talking again. The door's cracked open. That's all I need. Over the next week, I'll be perfect. I'll give you space. I started seeing a therapist. You were right about a lot of things. I have a lot to work on. What matters is that you hear what you've been dying to hear, that I'm finally taking responsibility. I'll apologize. Not for everything, but for specific things. I'm sorry I didn't listen. I'm sorry I made you feel small. You'll cry. These are the words you've been begging me to say. I'll tell you I don't expect you to come back. I just wanted you to know. I just hope maybe we can be friends someday. Friends? Someday, you'll agree. Yeah, maybe friends. Eventually. Of course. Take all the time you need, and then I'll start talking about the future. I'll talk about therapy. Reading. I'll use the language your therapist uses. I'm working on my emotional regulation. I'm learning about attachment styles. I realize now that I have some abandonment wounds I was projecting onto you. Perfect, therapeutic, self-aware, you'll soften. I'll mention casually that I'm thinking about moving. Fresh start, the threat of permanent loss. You'll panic. Just a little. That's a big decision. Are you sure? I don't know. I just think maybe it would be good for both of us. I'm not moving, but you don't know that. I'll start posting on social media. Nothing about you. Just living my life, looking healthy, happy. That friend of mine you always got along with, I'll post a picture with her. You'll notice. You'll wonder. I'll mention that I'm thinking about dating again. Not seriously, but my friends think it might be good for me. Feels too soon. Too soon. Which implies there's still a window. But also, other women are interested. Maybe you're making a mistake. The jealousy will eat at you. I'll back off a little. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. I have plans. Now you're the one reaching out more. How was your night? I've reversed the dynamic. You're chasing me now. This is when I suggest meeting up. I really miss talking to you in person. Do you think we could get coffee? You'll say yes. We'll meet. I'll look good. I'll hug you, and you'll remember exactly how it felt. Your body will remember before your brain can stop it. I'll be the best version of myself, attentive, present, reminding you of inside jokes we shared, all the things you can't have with anyone else. I won't ask you to come back, not yet. Instead, I'll plant seeds. I've been thinking a lot about what went wrong. I was so focused on controlling things, because I was afraid of losing you. But I understand now that real love means trusting someone enough to let them be free. Did I get that from a therapy Instagram account? Yes. You're melting. We'll start seeing each other more. Coffee turns into dinner. Dinner turns into staying late talking. Talking turns into that familiar touch, that familiar kiss. I'm not asking you to make any decisions. I just miss you. But I know we can't go back to how things were. If we do this, it has to be different. Different. Better. The version you always believed was possible. You'll move back in. Eventually. We're not taking it slow. We're right back where we started. Except now I have more power than ever, because you left once and came back. And part of you will be terrified to try leaving again, because what if I don't take you back next time? I own you now more than I ever did before. You want to know the real secret? It's not because I'm smarter than you, it's because I'm willing to do things you're not willing to do. I'm willing to lie to your face while telling you I love you. I'm willing to destroy your self-esteem. I'm willing to isolate you from everyone who loves you. I'm willing to fake growth, fake change, fake entire personalities. You're not willing to do those things. You're operating with empathy, with conscience. That's your weakness. That's why I always win. You're playing chess while I'm playing a completely different game, a game where I make up new rules whenever it suits me. But I know something you don't know yet. You're hooked on me. Not on who I actually am. You're hooked on who I was during the beginning. You're hooked on the possibility that he might come back. You're hooked on the hope that if you just love me hard enough, I'll transform into the person I pretended to be. That's the invisible chain. Every time I'm cruel and then kind, I'm strengthening that chain. Every time I withdraw and then return, I'm making you more desperate. Every time I make you feel worthless and then make you feel special, I'm creating a need in you that's stronger than any substance. You're not leaving me because you can't leave me, not because I won't let you, but because I've restructured your entire sense of self around me. I've made you believe that you're only valuable when I say you are. Leaving me would mean facing the reality that you wasted years on someone who never loved you. It would mean admitting to your friends and family that they were right. It would mean starting over alone with your confidence shattered. That's terrifying. That's more terrifying than staying. So you'll stay. Or you'll leave and come back. Or you'll leave and find someone exactly like me, because I'm what feels familiar now. I've won before you've even made your move. I'm 10 steps ahead. I'm always 10 steps ahead. But here's what I'm not saying. Here's the part I can't admit, even to myself. I'm empty. This whole thing, this elaborate game, it's all because I'm fundamentally, profoundly empty inside. I don't feel the way you feel. I don't connect the way you connect. I don't love the way you love. When you look at me and see a person, you're wrong. You're seeing a mirror. There's nothing here. No real personality, no real values. Just a collection of learned behaviors designed to get people to give me what I need, which is constant validation that I exist, that I matter. I need you to need me, because if you don't need me, I don't exist. That's why I'm 10 steps ahead, not because I'm brilliant, but because I'm desperate, because my entire sense of self depends on controlling you. Because if you leave and don't come back, I have to face the terrifying reality that I'm exactly what you think I am. A fraud, a predator, a black hole of need disguised as a person. And I can't face that. I'll do anything not to face that. So yes, I'm 10 steps ahead. But here's the thing I didn't prepare for. What if you call my bluff? What if you leave and don't respond? What if you block my number? What if you tell people the truth about me? What if you choose yourself? What if you realize that everything I told you about yourself was a lie designed to keep you small? What if you find out that you're actually funny, interesting, capable, lovable? What if you heal? That's my nightmare. Not that you'll hate me. I can work with hate. My nightmare is that you'll become indifferent, that you'll move on so completely that I become a footnote in your history. My nightmare is that you'll win, and you can win. But you have to understand the game you're actually playing. This isn't about getting closure. It's not about making him understand how much he hurt you. He already knows. He just doesn't care. This is about cutting off his supply. Here's what he won't tell you. His entire system collapses without your participation. Every tactic in his playbook requires your emotional engagement. The mind games only work if you argue about reality. The false promises only work if you believe them. The invisible chain only stays strong if you keep hoping he'll change. Cut off the supply and the whole thing crumbles. The most effective strategy is called gray rock. You make yourself as boring and unresponsive as a gray rock. No emotion, no reaction, no supply. If you have to be in contact with him, you become a robot. You talk about logistics only, the weather, schedules, nothing personal. His messages? You respond once, briefly. Okay, got it, will do. No explanations. He'll escalate. He'll try to provoke you. He'll alternate between cruel and kind, trying desperately to get a reaction. You stay gray. You stay rock. But if you can go completely no contact, do it. Block his number. Block him on all social media. If he shows up, you don't answer the door. No contact completely denies him access to you. He can't manipulate what he can't reach. While you're preparing to leave, document everything. Keep a journal with dates, screenshot, messages. Save emails. Because the mind games are designed to make you doubt your own memory. When he tells you something never happened, you need to look at your documentation and know that it did. Documentation is your tether to reality. Remember all those people he isolated you from? Your friends, your family, your therapist? It's time to reach back out. This will be humbling. Some of them might be angry, but the ones who really love you will just be relieved you're safe. You need these people because leaving a narcissist is not something you can do alone. You need accountability partners who will remind you why you left. You need people who will physically show up and help you move. You need therapists who specialize in narcissistic abuse. You need a team. This is the hardest part. You need to accept, fully and completely, that he will not change. The version of him you fell in love with doesn't exist. It never existed. It was a character he played. The real him is the person who manipulated you, and that person is not going to transform. Even if he goes to therapy, even if he says all the right words, he's saying them to get you back. Not because they're true. You have to grieve the person you thought he was. You have to mourn the relationship you thought you had. And then you have to accept that those things were illusions. Only then can you fully let go. Here's what you absolutely should not do. Do not confront him. Do not tell him he's a narcissist. Do not try to explain all the ways he manipulated you. This will not give you closure. It will give you Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. He will deny everything, attack you, and make himself the victim. Or worse, he'll use the information against you. He'll adjust his tactics. Just leave. Quietly, strategically, without explanation. You don't owe him a conversation. You don't owe him closure. You don't owe him anything. Moving forward, remember this. Don't share good news with him because he'll ruin it. Don't share bad news because he won't support you. Don't share indifferent news because he won't care. Save your real life for safe people. People who have earned the right to know you. He hasn't. He never did. If you do this, If you really commit to gray rock or no contact, if you rebuild your support system, here's what happens. He'll panic. His whole system depends on your engagement. When you withdraw it completely, he loses all his power. He'll try everything: love bombing, threats, bribes. He'll send flying monkeys, mutual friends who will try to convince you to give him another chance. Stay gray. Stay gone. Eventually, either he'll give up and find a new target, or he'll escalate. If he escalates, if he starts showing up unannounced or making threats, you need to involve authorities, document everything, get a restraining order if necessary. Most narcissists, when they realize the game is truly over, will move on. It's easier to find new supply than to keep trying to win back someone who won't play. And then, only then, will you be free. Not because he gave you permission, but because you took your power back and walked away from a game you were never going to win by playing. You win by refusing to play at all. He thinks he's 10 steps ahead. He thinks he's got you mapped out, predicted, controlled. But he's wrong about one thing. He thinks you're as empty as he is. He thinks you need him the way he needs supply. He thinks you can't exist without him. He's wrong. You're not empty. You're full of capacity for real love, real growth, real connection, things he'll never understand because he's not capable of them. And that's his fatal weakness. That's the one thing he can never plan for, never predict, never control. Your capacity to choose yourself, your capacity to heal, your capacity to walk away and mean it. He's 10 steps ahead in a game that only matters if you keep playing. So stop playing. Listen, I know this is heavy. I know it feels, impossible. But you are not alone. Thousands of people have walked this exact path and made it to the other side. Start small. One blocked number, one conversation with a friend, one therapy session, one day of gray rock, one moment of choosing yourself. That's all it takes to begin. You were always stronger than him. That's why he had to work so hard to convince you otherwise, because he knew that the moment you realized your own power, it was over.